Welcome back to The Boys in the Iceberg, the podcast where we watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. As always, I'm Caleb Bader.
And I'm Harley Davis.
And chugging along right through Season 2, Earth.
Episode 7.
Is it Episode 7 now?
Yes. Well, Episode 7 of this season. Episode 27 altogether.
Okay, so yeah, we got Episodes 7 and 8 of Season 2 for you guys this week. The first one being Zuko Alone.
Zooks. My favorite character.
And then the second one being The Chase.
The Chase is not my favorite character.
No.
Zuko is.
I like Zuko too.
He's the best.
And this episode is really, I mean, it's just Zuko alone, really. There's not really any other characters except for in flashbacks.
Yeah, I think the entirety of this it's all Zuko. We don't see Aang. I don't think we see Iroh at all.
No, Iroh's in one of the flashbacks at Ba Sing Se.
Well, no, in like present time.
No. Yeah,
in the flashbacks, it's a bunch of different characters because we get young Azula and we get young Zuko, and then we get young Ty Lee and young May.
In the present time, it's only Zuko,
yeah.
And then whoever he meets in the Earth Kingdom.
And we actually get Fire Lord Azulon?
Azulon, yeah. Which is... Azula is named for Azulon.
Yeah, but she thinks he's a tool.
Yeah, but he really likes her. He prefers her to the Zuko.
Well, everybody does.
That's true.
I think Zuko even prefers
Zuko is the black sheep of the family. Really.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
And he's not good at firebending at this point in time. He's not good at firebending now either.
He's bad. You wouldn't say so?
Comparatively to Azula.
I mean...
I'm going to compare him to Azula the entire time. She's a bad firebender.
Because well, that's the next episode, so we'll wait on that. But in this Zuko Alone, we start out actually with Zuko riding into town, akin to an old Western of yore.
Yeah. Well, no, did he... Yeah, he rode. I was thinking he rode into the little house first. I don't know why.
He's still got that the ostrich bird, the ostrich horse.
Yeah, the one he stole actually.
Yeah.
But anyways, he turns out I like this episode because we see a lot of the Earth Kingdom people being douchebags too.
Yeah.
It just shows that not everyone everywhere is nice that are not Fire Nation. I liked it a lot. I think we get that later in other episodes too of Fire Nation soldiers. They're not being mean.
Yeah.
They're actually being nice. So it shows both sides. Not everybody's mean on the Fire Nation, and not everybody's nice on the Earth Kingdom and Water Tribes.
They're bucking the stereotypes, as it were. Yeah, we got these really mean like army guys from the Earth Kingdom.
Being very thuggish.
I think they're basically like the sheriffs in this scenario, because this is really much set like an old Western.
I think there's a lot like that set up old Western style in both of these new episodes we see.
Yeah, I think because the Earth Kingdom really does have a different feel, especially in some. It's dry, like more like a desert.
It's earthy.
No water really.
For the Earth Kingdom.
Yes.
There's Earth everywhere.
Yes, that's true. You can stop saying that now.
Earth.
So yeah, he rides up into town and he goes to buy some supplies because he before he'd ridden past a pregnant woman and her husband eating some meat, and he felt hungry.
Yeah, and he was gonna steal it from him. Like he was grabbing his swords. I think they're called Dao swords.
Dao swords, yeah.
DAO. And he was gonna steal it from them. And then he saw the pregnant lady, and we as he walks away, or as he drives his ostrich. As he rides his ostrich thingy away, I think that's cool how he allows them to keep that, because Zuko could have stolen that immediately.
Yeah,
it allows him to keep that. He has a little bit of humanity left. Yeah, so I like that. Zuko's not the bad guy. He's just because Aang is our protagonist, Zuko's our bad guy. Zuko is not a bad guy. He's just got a lot going wrong in his life.
Well,
he's a very good character.
That's I think that we might be seeing a little bit more from the pregnant lady and her husband, I guess, also in the future.
Okay, yeah, no, we see it. I was thinking of another episode that you guys have already watched, the episode that you and Elijah talked about of the pass or whatever it was.
The Great Divide. Which you still have not watched yet. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. You should probably, just for context of the series, go back and watch those episodes.
Just watch those 2 episodes and we'll just rehash them.
No, we don't have to talk about it. I feel like you're not committed, though.
I am.
In the way that I would like you to be.
I've seen this show like 15 times.
Yeah, but it wouldn't, a refresher would not hurt.
You're right. But I've seen it a lot more than you, I feel like.
Okay, moving on. I don't know about that statement. I'm going to let that slide, though.
He's better.
Moving on, Zuko goes in and actually buys himself some food with money, I guess, that he has. I guess he kept the money that he stole from all those people before.
Oh yeah, he did do his little thing as the Blue Spirit and stole a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, a couple episodes ago. So I guess he's still got. I guess, does he still have a reserve? Where did all that money go?
He just has a credit card. He's a
yeah, because
he's got the royal credit card.
yeah, the red card.
He just walks up. Yeah, I'm the prince's. I'm the king's son. Just stuff, and they had to
The Fire King, son,
the Fire King. Yeah, that's his name.
whom they are at war with.
That's fair.
But he goes to the market to buy food, and he is immediately accosted by Earth soldiers.
Well, because the little kid was throwing eggs, and I hate this kid during this episode.
He's the worst.
He throws eggs at one of the Earth Kingdom soldiers, the little thugs that we were referring to earlier, and Zuko gets blamed for it. He's like, hey, did you throw the eggs at me? He's like, no. He's like, did you see who did? No. Is that your favorite word?
Even if they are bad guys, that kid's still awful, and I hate him for that.
I hate kids like that.
Yeah, like don't. If these people are gonna hurt you, don't do anything against them.
I wish they would kill that kid.
Yeah, really.
There, I said it.
And hopefully they do later in the episode. Spoiler free. But they Zuko stands off with the Earth Kingdom guys after they come up and are hassling him. But he eventually backs down because he doesn't want to make any trouble for himself.
Well, Zuko could easily kill those guys.
Oh, of course,
for sure. They're just tools. Even if Zuko's not a good firebender as Azula, he could still destroy those 4 Earth Nation geeks.
Oh yeah, and so he basically they take his food, and then he follows Lee home, which is the little kid, I think.
Lee forces him to come with him. He's like, "Thanks for not ratting me out. Come with me, and we'll go eat at my place."
Yeah, because he offers to feed his bird.
Yeah, which is stupid. I would immediately tell that child no and kick him in the face. Like, you almost got me beaten up.
But he also got his food taken away, so he needs some food because he's very hungry at this point.
Yeah, but I would still kill the kid, and then ruffle through his clothes for an address, and then go to his family's house and eat the food, and kill his family.
Kill his family too. Okay,
just live there in peace. Just bury them in the backyard.
He's still looking for the Avatar.
Nah,
he doesn't want to.
I'd settle down. That's a whole other story. Zuko just settles down in this Earth Kingdom place.
Okay,
he's the old grumpy guy in the corner who just firebends.
And that everyone's cool with it.
Everybody's really scared of him. He's on the outskirts.
So he does eventually go home with the little kid and meets the kid's parents. I do not remember their names. Please don't ask me that.
I don't think they had names.
Yeah, they definitely did have names. But the mother insists that Zuko stay with them and eat. And then apparently they put Zuko to work, I guess. And they make him refinish a roof.
Was it Sela? I think that's her.
I don't care.
I think that's the girl's name.
I guess probably.
I don't care if you don't care.
Okay,
it was brought up earlier.
If you don't care, I don't care. So they put Zuko to work, and he has to re-roof his roof.
And it's very bad. You can tell the husband is all the way at the top, finished with his section.
Yeah.
And Zuko is still close to the bottom, and he's nailing in
He's got
one
like
part, and
50
there's like
nails
50 nails in like one board. And the kid's like, "You're not from around here, are you?" It's like, no. Zuko's real somber in this episode.
Yeah. And
he doesn't say much.
He's just got this hammer, just this one board, not making any progress.
The dude is just, I don't know. He's like, you can't ask him that. Like, from Mean Girls, you're not allowed to ask people why they're white. Like, that's what I imagined when he said that. You just can't ask people where they're from.
Yeah. Because another thing is the little kid's name is Lee, so the pseudonym that Zuko had been using, which is Lee, he can't use. So they asked him for his name. Has it been
Lee or will it be Lee?
It has been Lee.
It has used Lee before?
Or I think because when him and Iroh meet that other couple or the other people.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He says Lee, and then Iroh changes to Junior, and he doesn't like that.
Okay, I remember that now.
But
okay.
Yeah, they eventually eat, and then Zuko goes to sleep, and Lee sneaks in to the barn where he's sleeping and steals his swords.
And you would know all this if you guys would watch the shows with us.
I'd say the people watching this or listening to this are.
I just imagine people not listening or just not watching the shows and just listening to this when they go to sleep.
And not getting really any information about what actually happened.
I don't even know who these characters are. Picture Zuko as some fat guy with a scar on his face. That's what I would
At least the scar's there.
At least the scar's there. We've established the scar on his face.
Yeah, but this kid breaks into the barn and steals Zuko's swords. Like, while he's sleeping. And Zuko's not actually asleep. He knows what's going on.
I wouldn't let him steal his swords. I'd let him grab them, and I'd stab him with a knife and
I would
finally kill that
slice his
kid.
head off.
That kid would be dead.
Yeah.
And I'd go inside the house for the mom and dad.
You just you want to kill the mom and dad, don't you?
It'd be like a Critters thing. You just kill everybody in the farmhouse.
Save it for your Critters podcast.
Or Leprechaun.
But yeah, the kid goes out and is chopping grass and stuff down, sunflowers, and then stabbing wood, which that's going to dull that blade.
No, those blades are undullable.
Undullable?
He fights rocks later.
Yeah, that would also dull
Openly.
the blade.
Like you could firebend those.
Spoilers.
No, we're going to get to that. We've already opened up this can of worms.
So Zuko goes out there and I get sort of the kid thinks that Zuko is going to reprimand him.
And he does.
Yeah, but then
Cuts
he
his
says,
hands off for stealing.
And then he says, "Hey, that's not how you do this. You got to think of these as one blade, not two individual ones."
Extensions of your arms.
Which, no, they're two individual blades. I mean,
It's just being philosophical.
I mean, just technically, that's what they are.
Being very monkish.
You'll fight differently with them than you will with one blade. That's all there is.
Yeah, but it's still a cool concept.
I don't know.
I like it.
I think it's dumb.
I think you're dumb.
That's uncalled for.
Yeah. So it's calling one of my favorite shows dumb.
No, I think the premise of what the swords are is dumb.
No, it's really cool.
You know what? Shut your mouth. I'm done with you. I'm done with the podcast. I'm not going to do it anymore. Goodbye.
All right. Welcome back to Boys in the Iceberg. This is Harley Davis, your only host. You will have no more hosts. Just me. And maybe my cat Miguel. Maybe. You might get Miguel. Yes. Thank you, Miguel. Anyways, okay, the swords. I think it's a great concept of one sword being split down the middle to make two swords as an extension of your body. And that's a very philosophical, very monkish thing that I tried to establish earlier when we were talking about this. And I don't know, I think the swords themselves are cool. And the little blade, I've got no emotional attachment to right now. So when he walks away from the family at the end of the next day, well, I shouldn't get into that yet.
Yeah, you're getting way ahead.
Yeah, because the thugs come back and they threaten the family and whatnot, and they make jokes about Lee's older brother being dead in the front lines.
Because he probably is.
There's a good chance, yeah.
Because he went off to fight in the war.
Yeah, but what are these tools doing? Like, why aren't they fighting the war? What's wrong with them? They're earthbenders, or one of them is at least.
I think it's a Mulan situation. Where,
like one of every family?
Yeah, they would take one of every family. Because when they say that he's probably dead or a prisoner, the dad goes.
So they're just replacing him?
Yeah.
Okay, and then later on, once that happens, Lee and Zuko were talking, and Zuko gives Lee his knife.
Yeah, this is when Zuko is leaving.
Yeah, Zuko's leaving the farm on his stolen ostrich horse. And I have no emotional attachment to this knife yet. We've seen it one other time.
Well, I think that the
story itself does build emotional attachment.
Because in this episode we get different flashbacks.
This episode does, yeah.
We haven't really talked about yet. But we do see that the knife was a gift from Uncle Iroh, who it was actually a general of the Earth Kingdom that he defeated, that he took it off and gave it to Zuko.
What does it stand for again?
Never fight without an honor, or I don't remember exactly.
Never back down to the sequel.
It's never back down without a fight, I think.
Never back down without a fight. That's probably what it is. But yeah, it's cool knife. It's got a cool inscription on it. And it's even cooler because it's in Chinese or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. Mandarin.
Mandarin. And I think it's a really cool knife. But until this episode airs, even after he gives away the knife, because we haven't seen it yet in flashbacks, in the flashbacks it makes it more emotional than when he gives her the knife. But I wish they would have done flashbacks before present time. Like the way the flashback set up is present time, he gives her the knife. And the next flashback is he shows where the knife came from. But I wish they would have done it. I think so. I wish they would have done it reversely and shown where the knife came from first.
I think they did.
I don't think they did.
I'm pretty sure that's how it was.
I don't think they did.
But we had seen the knife before. That's the one he actually uses.
Time.
A couple times.
One time.
That's the one he uses
when they cut their hair.
Their hair.
That was it.
I think we saw it before.
No, that was the one time we saw it.
I don't know. I don't think they need to build emotional attachment before because they did it in this episode.
Just one other time. Like if this would have been the third time we saw this knife, I'd have been like, man, that's a really cool knife. Don't get rid of that knife. You use it a lot.
But this is also the only show where we've gotten heavy Zuko backstory.
Well, get rid of those fluff pieces in the first episode or season. Go back, fill that in with Zuko knife.
No, it's fine.
Call it Zuko knife love triangle.
Why?
And they have to.
That's
I don't know.
a terrible name.
It's a great name.
Okay, moving on from that. So Zuko has already left the farm and is getting ready to just leave the Earth Nation.
He's camped
village.
out like a few miles away from that.
Yeah, and
he's about to head out.
The mom rides up and says, "Would you please help me? My husband had to go fight in the war, and the army came back and took my son."
And he's stupid.
They have strapped him to a water tower for some reason. We don't know exactly why.
This is very westerny. I tried to argue this with Caleb earlier during the episode.
I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong.
Like, the kid is the damsel. There is no distress at the moment because they're just going to force him to the army. But I was comparing the water tower to the train tracks in like old Western movies. How he's fully wrapped up in rope, and pretend he's on the train track. And Zuko rides into town like this outlaw coming to get back his guy against. He's definitely outnumbered by all the townspeople or the sheriff, the cowardice sheriff, and then he fights them, and he kicks their butts.
Oh yeah,
and the first three attack him one at a time,
and they have spears,
which is stupid because there's 4 of them. That's really dumb. Just get up on him and pummel him. There's 4 of you.
I think that he could still take him,
probably because he's Zuko, but that tactic is dumb though. But yeah, and he breaks their spears and breaks their ego, and they run away. And then it's the 4th guy with the hammers who took Zuko's stuff away at the very beginning, and they fight. And there's kind of a duel showdown, and then the guy's beating him pretty badly for a second, and then Zuko comes back and fire bends, and then he beats the crap out of that dude. And the guy is very, he cowers a little bit. He's like, "Oh, don't hurt me, I'm sorry." And then he goes, "I'm Prince Zuko of the Fire Nation, heir of, what's her name? Ursa and, Ursa and Ozai. And, I'm hunting the avatars. I don't know what he says. But everybody is now scared of him.
Yeah.
And now they hate him. Like, they were rooting for him in the fight.
He tries to give the knife back to Lee.
And Lee just says, "Get away from me, I hate you."
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
You said that, but I agree with what you're saying. But I think the context of that is the only thing they've ever known about the Fire Nation as that child, because it's been happening for 100 years, is that they're bad.
Yeah.
And firebending is associated with Fire Nation, so even if he never said I was royalty, and he was just firebending, then he could still hate them. But then when he said he's royalty, like the main reason for the invasion, then all right, I hate you. Like, you've ruined my entire family. My brothers died for you, because of you. My dad is now in the war because of you. I almost got killed because of you. Like that, that's a lot of emotions coming down on that kid all at once. So I guess I hate you was the only line they gave to him, but. Whatever.
That's the one thing I would say about what Zuko did. Maybe, like, when you're, like, firebending in front of people, don't come and say, "Hey, my dad, he's the one that, like, killed all your people."
He started all this.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was his great-grandfather, but still, that guy you hate more than anything else in the world? I'm his son.
He's leading all of this.
Yeah. And apparently they knew about him because some of the Earthbenders said, or the Earth Kingdom people.
Yeah, they're like, "I heard about you."
Yeah, you're not the prince. You're disgraced. You were banished. I don't know how they get that news.
Yeah, I mean, word travels, I guess, because they're probably they're probably spies in like the Fire Kingdom, and that was probably a big thing when the Fire Prince or the Fire Lord's prince got banished, his only male heir.
That's true.
It was probably a big thing. So and word travels fast. So
yeah, and the episode ends with Zuko riding off into the sunset.
Very westerny this episode,
but not like a traditional western where the good guy wins and then he gets to ride off in the sunset.
I think Zuko in this scenario is the good guy.
I'm not saying he is, but
it wasn't a happy ending.
It just drives. It's Zuko alone has multiple meanings. First of all, this episode is centered around Zuko, but then secondly, he starts it alone. Gets some people who actually care about him more or less
for a second. He does help out on like the ranch and stuff like that.
He ends alone.
Yeah, we get a lot of ranch shots to establish maybe Zuko would want to stay here for a bit and settle down.
Probably not,
but it's the idea because he's working for him and whatnot and doing things for him and really bonding with that child.
So that's the end of the episode technically, but we want to talk a little bit about the flashbacks because it does give a lot of backstory not only for like Zuko, but we also get to see a lot of Zuko's mother and Azula.
And Iroh. We
get a little bit of Iroh.
Well, we
get a lot of insight on Iroh.
We find out what happened to Iroh's son and why Iroh is a disgraced general now, because he pulled back the 100-day siege of Ba Sing Se because his only son died.
Yeah.
And yes, we finally find out that Iroh was the heir apparent of the Fire Nation below Azulon, because he was the oldest brother of Ozai. So therefore, once Azulon passes, Iroh would get the throne. But then when they find out that Iroh's son dies, what's his name? Ozai, which is Mark Hamill. We actually get to hear Mark Hamill's voice in this, and I like it a lot. And he comes up and says, "Hey, Dad, I got this great idea. Since Iroh doesn't have any descendants, how about we just use me as the Fire Lord?"
Yeah, he actually says that Iroh's bloodline is gone, so how about I just become the Fire Lord?
Which is selfish, but a solid plan.
And then, so Azula, and we get to see a little bit of Azula and Zuko and sort of their rivalry, because Azula, Ozai actually presents her before Azulon as to look at what Azula can do now with her fire bending. And she does this really cool, like a pattern really with the bending, and does some really powerful stuff. And that makes Zuko feel pretty jealous.
Yeah, and then he jumps up and he's like, "Hey, let me show you," and tries to do like the same thing, but then he falls.
And we get to see a little bit of May and Ty Lee also with young Azula.
Yes, young Azula has always been mean to those guys, and it shows. Hold on, no, it shows, because I think later on in the series it builds up to something.
Of course,
because they play that context really well. Because Ty Lee is doing backflips or whatnot, and so is Azula, and Azula does her little cartwheels and whatnot, and then Ty Lee does them 10 times better, and she does a little jump in the air.
And Azula falls over.
Then Azula pushes her over.
Yeah.
And she laughs, and May kind of chuckles a little bit. And then May and Zuko May kind of has a crush on Zuko, and then Azula kind of does some weird things with her. She puts an apple on May's head, lights it on fire. Zuko tries to put it out, and they both fall into the water. And Azula laughs at her for that. So Azula's always been mean to them.
But I think that they are still friends.
Yeah, no, but it's probably because there's some kind of royalty aspect there.
I don't really think so. I think
some kind of high ups, like they're
legitimately friends.
No, like they became friends out of just like the context of, hey, there's also kids over there, go play with them.
Yeah,
and then that was the only kids their age to play with. Maybe, and Azula, since she's the higher up of all three of them, she's kind of the leader, and she has to be better at everything. And when it's not, she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So, but they do play good context into what happens in the next season. I think it's the next season.
Yeah. Well, there's only one season left.
Well, it's either the end of the season. Well, we've only 7 seasons into this one. So it's either at the end of this one or the next one.
So then we get to see Ozai actually talking to Azulon, telling him that he thinks that he should become the Fire Lord next.
Still don't get to see Ozai's face, though, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, but Zuko and Azula are actually behind a curtain listening in on the conversation. And Ozai says that now that Iroh's bloodline is gone, maybe I should take over. And Azulon does not like this. He says that, well, Iroh's only son has just died, and now you want to do this to him? I don't think so. I think that you should be punished for this. And then he raises the fire up, and Zuko doesn't like that, and he runs out of there. But Azula stays.
Yeah, because Azula's a psychopath.
And then later, Azula runs into Zuko's room and tells him that Ozai's going to have to kill him now, because Azulon said that maybe he should have to lose his firstborn son also, as Iroh did.
Which, judging by, even if we hadn't got any of a previous season of him being a disgraced prince, if we just have these flashbacks to work with, we could see that Ozai is not proud of Zuko at all.
Oh, no.
Because we don't see, like I said, we don't see Ozai's face, but we see his mouth. And when Azula goes up there to present her little thing towards Azulon, you see a little smile on the edge of his mouth. And then when Zuko jumps up there, he frowns immediately. Like, hey, don't do that. I hate you. You're a disappointment. Like, that's what I got from that.
Yeah.
And they really build, even with the small snippets of character, I don't know, like inflections with their face and whatnot. You get a lot of little context of how people feel about each other. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and
this show is great.
We also get to see, with Iroh's gift of the dagger, Zuko's interest in swords, which does play in later, because we see him first messing around with the dagger, and that's sort of the basis of why he chose to learn the Dai. Was that what you called it? Dao swords. Which I thought was pretty cool. They sort of set that up. But then we, at the end of the flashbacks for this episode, Zuko's mom goes missing. And he doesn't know where we're at. So I think what we're led to believe is that she somehow sacrificed herself so that Ozai wouldn't have to kill Zuko.
Maybe.
And they got rid of her. I think that's what I always thought. Because apparently, if we're going to believe Azula, which she does always lie, but if we're going to believe her, then Ozai would have to kill Zuko, and I think that's what they're trying to imply.
I can see that now. I was always confused as to what happened during this episode when I was watching it as a younger child. I was in 5th grade, and I'm not very smart. So I cannot look into those Sherlock Holmes things and just look past that. So I was confused. I always thought she just ran away for some reason.
Oh.
Like there was
She just left Zuko.
There was no other reason. Like, hey, I can't live here anymore. I'm going to divorce you. And just left. I don't know. Because Ozai doesn't give him any emotion to that. Like, you don't see like tears running down his cheeks or anything for his dead wife. Like, you don't see anything.
Which he is a sociopath.
Yeah, no, he's crazy too. So we don't know.
No. But then after that, we find out that Fire Lord Azulon has died, and his dying wish...
In his sleep.
His dying wish was to... Was it in his sleep?
Yeah. Azulon died suddenly last night in his sleep. Sorry about that yawn.
How is his dying wish to have Ozai take over then?
I don't know.
If they didn't... I think that... Yeah, that is a little weird. Maybe...
I could have just lied to you. I'm pretty sure it's in his sleep, though.
Maybe there was a little bit of foul play involved. There definitely was. Ozai definitely killed his father.
For sure.
Like, there's nothing around that.
Like, hey, you just butchered my wife. I kill you now. And Iroh's gone. He can't claim the heir. And so, I mean, I guess, wouldn't you think, since Iroh's at war right now, at battle, then Azula, God bless it, Ozai takes over the throne until Iroh gets back? If Azulon were to die, not in a foul play scenario, wouldn't that happen?
But now Azulon's dying wish was just to have Ozai become the Fire Lord. So he is just technically the Fire Lord now.
Which is crazy. Yeah. I want Iroh and him to fight. I want them just to kill each other.
I can tell you they don't. Spoilers.
Man, I wish I wouldn't have heard that. Because I've never seen this show before.
I think that's pretty much it for the episode as a whole.
That's the flashback right there.
Harley, what do you think of this episode?
I don't know, but I'm reading right here guest stars, and the person who played Lee is Robbie Bruce. And all I read was Bruce Lee, and I'm like, that's impossible.
Hey, what do you think about the episode?
It's a good episode. I really love Zuko, so I don't know why you would think that I wouldn't like this episode.
I was just asking.
It's one of my favorites.
Just for good podcasting.
Lots of Zuko.
Yeah, I really like this one too. It's really much a break in the format, as we don't have Aang or Katara or Sokka at all.
We still have that riding off into the sunset, though.
Yep, that makes it all better. So let's get into a little bit of trivia.
I'm going to actually toss in some continuity here. Zuko's dagger was first seen in the Avatar state when Zuko and Iroh cut off their top knots, is what it was called. And this is the first time that we see Zuko's mother, Ursa.
In this episode?
At all.
Okay, yeah.
Ever. This episode
is the first time.
Yeah. And yes, we do see the pregnant woman and her husband later on. We won't tell you what episode, though.
When Zuko beats the Earthbender and reveals his identity, a man in the crowd shouted that Zuko's own father burned him. However, in the storm, it was implied that this fact was not publicly known, as Zuko's own crew, who had been traveling with him for nearly 3 years, was under the assumption that he got a scar from a training accident. So that's a very good point. His own crew did not know how he got his scar.
Well, they're mutinous. So
how did this fire...
Maybe this guy does a lot of research.
Earth Nation guy.
A lot of research.
And also, The Storm is one of the episodes that Elijah and I watched, which is just another reason that you should go back and watch those 2 episodes, Harley, because it does come up later.
This is actually the first episode in which Team Avatar does not appear. And this is the second episode where Zuko is shown fighting without firebending. The first one being the Blue Spirit, which was another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
You know why, guys?
Because it's Zuko-centric.
So
apparently in the episode, Iroh gives Zuko the knife and then gives Azula a doll. And the doll given to Azula has the same hairstyle and headband as Toph. And it's actually explained that it's the latest Earth Kingdom fashion.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you? Because it was on the screen.
No, I saw. It's just weird. It looked like Toph, and then she burned her. Is that foreshadowing to the death of Toph, perhaps? Who knows? Tune in next time, and all the other next times until this podcast is over to find out.
We still got a couple more things to say on this episode, though.
Maybe. We might just shut her down right now.
This is the only episode in which Zuko uses his swords to augment his firebending, because he is actually fighting the Earthbender that is using hammers to augment his Earthbending.
Here we go. Here's a goof for you. When Sela asks for Zuko's help, which is Lee, the little boy's mom, Zuko's swords disappear in several frames and then reappear in several frames.
Nice.
Man, lazy animating. I mean, this is arguably, I would say, top 3 best shows Nickelodeon has put out ever.
Probably.
They've been around since the late 80s.
I'd say probably top 1.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I know it has good characters, has a good story. It's fleshed out well for three seasons. But now, lazy animating sometimes, which is fine because animation is not cheap at all.
Absolutely not.
So but still, Nickelodeon. Where's our Avatar season 4 at, or more Avatar stuff?
Yeah, they definitely need to
Team
bring
Avatar.
those back.
They're all grown up,
I don't know why they don't just bring it back.
as told by Team Avatar, the wild Team Avatar.
So yeah, with that, let's move on to the next episode, which is episode, is it 8?
Yes, the chase.
Yes, the chase. This is one of the ones that sticks out to me from when I was watching it when I was younger.
And why is that, Caleb?
I don't know, honestly. This is just something that I remember, and I do really like this episode. And it starts off with we're back with the gang, and they're getting some rest. They're stopping.
Well, they're sure trying to.
Oh yeah, they are. But Katara and Toph are butting heads a little bit over the burden of the workload and who should carry that.
Katara's just out picking fights.
Yeah, she really is.
Why? Why is she like this?
I don't know. It's probably
Like there are some
her upbringing.
there are some fights with like Master Paku where she needed to do that to become a better waterbender. I mean, she didn't need to. She could just hang out and not do anything for the rest of her life at the North Pole. But to become a better waterbender, she needed to train Aang. But then there's the fight about the campsite that did not need to happen. Like, hey, pick your own weight. And Toph's like, I mean, I picked my own food. I got my own tent. I got my own stuff. Like, I've done nothing to weigh you guys down at all. And she's like, help us get our stuff off this Appa too. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I've pulled my weight.
Yeah, but I understand it.
I'm on Toph's side with this.
I think I'm more on Katara's side because people do need to share in some of the responsibilities because they're a team, and team building is very important.
Team building's lame.
Well, that's why you're on this side and I'm on that side, or that side and this side, but we're on opposite sides. Is really what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Katara sucks in this episode.
No, I hate you. Katara is actually being responsible, but one thing I will say, Toph could just
murder Katara.
Well, no. Instead of pitching tents, they could just have Toph earthbend like a little house with like a table and everything.
Yeah, and they would never
a fireplace.
They would never be able to be tracked.
Yeah,
Because I mean they could.
Yeah, probably.
But there would be no sign of a tents being pitched there at all. There would just be like earth just the same, flat around, and she could bury the fire real easily. Like Toph would becoming such, I don't know. Toph would become so handy to have.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As a right hand man in a survival sense, because she could just do whatever she wanted to with the earth.
So the fight with Katara and Toph sort of dies down. They all go to bed.
Try to.
Yeah, they try to until Toph hears some rumblings that sounds like an avalanche and also not like an avalanche coming at them.
So yeah, the same as an avalanche, but different.
And it turns out that there's a tank or something that looks like a train without tracks.
It looks like a tank.
It is on. It's like driving after them.
The chase for Team Avatar.
Because we see that once they get in Appa, who has been shedding this entire time.
Yes, they established that at the beginning.
Yeah. So they fly up and they see this tank heading full steam ahead at them. And so they're just trying to get out of the way. On little sleep right now, really.
Yeah, which it happens 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times. They stop down, try to bed down, and then the tank shows up. They leave again, try to bed down. The tank shows up, and then nothing really happens every time they bed down. Though
they're just getting really tired and really under each other's collars.
Katara and Toph keep fighting, and then finally Aang bumps in at the last minute. Sokka's done nothing wrong this entire episode. He's like, dudes, let's just
wants
sleep.
to go to sleep.
Sokka keeps trying to sleep, and they keep waking him up. There's a couple times where he's actually asleep, and they keep waking him up. And
the last time that they go down, it's actually because
Appa
falls asleep in mid-air.
Which is crazy to me, because once he hits the ground, he's going to die too.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me he's going to survive that.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. That's why he shouldn't do that. But he ends up catching himself almost at the last minute, and they sort of They still crash into the ground, but it's not as bad as it should have been.
No, that's a lot of G's they were pulling.
Yeah, they were weightless.
They had to have passed out. And then Appa goes upright pretty quickly again, like going straight down, but not really straight up, but he stops abruptly and then goes back up at an angle. Like they hit Appa's back pretty hard. They're dead. They're all
probably.
dead.
Many times in this show.
We have to go back and record how many times Sokka himself has died. Sokka's been crushed many times by things.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's dead for sure.
And he usually gets the blunt of anything that goes wrong.
Oh, for sure. Poor Sokka. I love Sokka.
They go down, and then we see who has been chasing them this entire time. And it's Azula, May, and Ty Lee.
The girls.
Then they're on like salamanders, I think. Giant salamanders that they're riding after they get out of the tank.
Yes.
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 And so they've been tracking this entire time, not letting them get any sleep, because every time they land, they're just right there again.
Which is crazy. They show up, like there's notable rings around their eyes. I'm gonna bring this up. There's notable rings around the eyes of the gang Team Avatar, but when Azula and May and Ty Lee come off the rig, they're not tired at all. But they've been chasing them every single day. Like they haven't slept either.
They were in a tank with what I would presume would be drivers.
We don't know there's drivers in there though.
Yeah, but I think that why would they know how to operate a tank?
We have not seen those drivers.
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm going to assume. So they've been sleeping this entire time.
No,
while they're on the prowl.
I'm calling some BS on that.
I don't think so. I think there are drivers.
I just think they're better trained to stay awake for long periods of time.
Definitely not. They've got some shut eye. Is what I'm going to say.
Nah.
I'm right, and you are wrong.
You're wrong.
And we're going to move on.
We've moved on.
So Azula, Ty Lee, and May show up, and they immediately start chasing after them.
Almost killing Toph, actually. May almost killed Toph.
Did she?
Yeah, she almost threw the darts at her face.
Oh,
She
yeah.
threw the darts at her face.
Yeah, because Toph can't really see that.
No, because it's flying. Well, I guess she can see the motions of her getting ready to throw the darts.
Yeah.
And she can predict.
A little
but
bit.
she might not be correct.
Yeah.
And then she goes to jump up on Appa at the same time as May throwing those darts, and she just barely gets out of the way of being impaled.
Yeah.
Dead.
And so then that was the second to last time they went down. And so then they fly off, and they're still very tired, and then they go down, and Appa crashes. And Azula, Ty Lee, and May are still coming at them. And they figure out that the reason they've been able to track them and know where they're going the entire time is because of Appa's fur.
Toph says it, actually, like as if she knew this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
and
listen.
She didn't say anything, so that's on you, Toph.
Yeah. Like, hey, listen, Toph, get your crap together. I'm on your side with the argument of Katara, but get your crap together. Like, one of the scenes when they try to bed down is Katara yelling at Toph across the way, and they're all just trying to sleep. Like, Katara, if you would just drop it for 2 seconds, you guys could sleep.
Yeah.
Like, Katara, you're in the wrong right now.
Absolutely.
You guys might continue this argument later, but after you've had some sleep. And that really aggravated me, because my sister does it all the time.
So, yeah, after they figure out exactly how they're able to track them, Aang has an idea that they're going to collect a whole bunch of Appa's fur and then wash him off.
Miles and miles of Appa's fur,
Yeah.
and put it in this small little satchel.
So, yeah, Aang flies off in one direction, and everybody else goes off in another direction to try to fake the girls out.
Yeah, it doesn't work because Azula's smart.
Azula is very intelligent.
Stupid smart.
She's very crazy, but very intelligent.
And she sends May and Ty Lee after the other people, and then Momo and Appa and Toph and Katara and Sokka. And then Aang goes by himself, and Azula follows him. And then we find ourselves in an old ghost town, very westerny again. And Aang's just sitting there waiting for Azula to show up, and he asks her, "Hey, you found me. Now who are you?" And then she pokes fun at Zuko here. And have we had Zuko in this episode yet?
No, he has not shown. Well, we see him
saw him for a
trailing
second.
the tank.
Because we forgot to mention that
and then also,
Toph ran off.
Yeah, Toph runs off, so she does not go with Katara, Sokka, and Momo, and Appa.
Because they get in a fight, and Toph's like, "Fine, I'm gone." And that was when Aang joins the fight, too.
Yeah.
And Sokka's just like, "Hey, guys, I just want to be peaceful here."
And Toph actually wanders off and runs into Iroh, who has been tracking Zuko.
Who has been tracking Azula.
Who has been tracking the gang.
Which is crazy.
That's what I had a little bit of a problem with this, because supposedly they're all going in a circle, because the Avatar and everybody have been running away while Azula is chasing them. Well, then being tracked by Zuko, Azula's being tracked by Zuko, and then Iroh is tracking Zuko.
Well, I brought this up when we were watching the movie, or the show. Where are they going?
Yeah,
like they're just trying to. They don't have a destination.
I think they're just moving around to avoid being tracked,
which is not working.
No, absolutely not.
Like I would bunker down somewhere for a while and just learn earthbending.
Yeah.
Like why is this so hard? Like go back to the air temple and learn earthbending.
Easy. Yeah, absolutely. You could go anywhere.
You have
maybe not the air temple.
You have the whole air temple to yourself.
It's limited Earth.
There's Earth around though.
You probably need more.
Bring
Earth
with you.
And I don't know.
Just bring a jar of dirt.
Yeah. But so Aang leads Azula away, and then Katara and Sokka get into a fight with Ty Lee and Mai.
And Sokka gets his crap kicked by Ty Lee.
Yeah, Ty Lee's still up to her old tricks of like making people's arms immobile.
Yeah, she's blocking their chi points.
This time, I think,
which is so cool.
Yeah, Katara doesn't fall into that trap because she already knows what's coming.
Yeah, and so Katara switches with Sokka, and Sokka starts fighting Ty Lee, and Katara starts fighting Mai, and she gets locked into a tree by Mai with her little darts, because Mai does not go for the impaling this time. Like
she's got so many different types
she was going
of
with
projectiles.
Toph. Yeah, like it's crazy to me though. Like with those things, there are so many of them, but she was going to impale Toph earlier with those things.
Yeah,
and this time she's like, I'll just lock Katara down with my on the tree with her sleeves, which is crazy to me. Like why could you could impale Toph? Why can't you impale her? Katara's a bigger target.
They might have needed information.
For what?
I don't know.
Just kill them all.
No, probably not. They don't want to kill the Avatar at least.
Well, yeah, no, keep the Avatar, but kill them. That way they're not in your way to get to the Avatar.
That might be why they want information.
No. Azula's currently tracking the Avatar.
It doesn't. Maybe Azula doesn't find the Avatar, and they need a backup plan.
No.
Yeah, this is just good strategy.
Just kill Katara and Sokka.
No.
There's 2 less people you have to fight to get to the Avatar.
Anyways, so it looks like things are looking pretty grim for our old heroes. But then Appa shows up as an ex machina.
And crushes Ty Lee and Mai.
Yes.
With his tail.
Their blood pours into the river, and then Aang sees that downriver and knows exactly what happened, that Appa had killed people, because he does that all the time. Aang's been trying to kick him of it, but he just has a bloodlust.
He's a murderous fiend.
He cannot be sated.
He is tamed to his animal instincts.
So, yeah, we see Azula over with Aang, and Aang's just sitting there on the ground waiting for her because he's led the trail, ran out of, like, a fur, and is just now waiting for Azula to come.
Yeah,
or whoever.
Conveniently, in this small town, he ran out of fur.
In the perfect setting for a fight, this abandoned town, where there's going to be no collateral
You can
damage.
destroy as many things as you want to, and nobody will be upset. But then we get Aang is standing there with Azula, and then she makes fun of Zuko. This is back where we were talking about earlier. She puts her hand over her face and says something about it. I need to restore my honor, blah, blah, blah.
She does a pretty good Zuko impression.
Pretty good Zuko impersonation. It would have been really funny if they would have had Dante Basco do that voiceover for her.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good.
But it's not a comedy, guys, so lock it up.
Eh.
And then Zuko comes out of nowhere, and he just rolls in, does a little barrel roll in there.
We see his bird first.
Yes. And then, so he's set up to fight both of them. And then we get some really good choreography with all 3 of them fighting each other at the same time. Like, Aang is deflecting both of theirs. Zuko is trying to attack Azula and Aang. Azula's more worried about Aang, but they're all 3 fighting each other at the same time, and it's super good.
Aang's not really, like, fighting more as he is just running away like he usually does. And then he's sort of letting Zuko distract Azula, even though she's more focused on him.
Mm-hmm. And there was... it goes their characters. We get even in the smallest actions they do what their characters are. Like Aang is always on the defensive and always running away, and he's always trying to be clever. And when they run up that building and they go into that doorway, and Aang's just sitting there on his little bubble,
and the floor is gone.
The floor is gone.
Aang goes through it, but we don't know that yet. We don't know the floor is gone. And then he's sitting there. Azula almost falls over, but she catches herself
and moves over to the left. And as she moves over, you see Zuko just run head first into that and fall off the second story and goes to the ground.
Because he doesn't care about really anything except for destroying Azula.
Yeah. He's like, I want to destroy Azula, and also I want to capture the Avatar. And it speaks on many levels of their characters. And then they go back out in the main center street of town, and then Katara shows up out of nowhere, and then Sokka shows up out of nowhere, and they both fight. They're fighting Azula. And then Iroh shows up out of nowhere.
And then Toph.
And then Toph shows up out of nowhere. Like, they all just converge on this small town to fight Azula.
I guess that Ty Lee and May figured that Azula's got it. We don't need to go find her.
Now we're good.
They weren't hurt. They were just wet.
Yeah, we lied about them being murdered. They were just got pushed into the river.
Yeah.
They were in the river, but they were wholesome. They were not bloody.
I wonder if the writers had it that they were murdered, because that would make sense why they weren't there at the very end, as they actually died.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But there's like,
so they all surround Azula,
and we get this really cool shot of how's it set? Is it set up in the Avatar state, like in order? Because that'd be really cool. From left to right, it's Sokka,
and then Zuko, Toph, Katara,
fire, earth, water, air.
Yeah,
because Iroh gets shot by because they're all standing there, and then Iroh
looks over and sees Toph.
Sees all of them, and he sees Toph,
who he'd met earlier
and
then had a chat with. And
that's what they were doing. That's what she was doing earlier. And then,
and so he's distracted.
That's why she came back, actually, because he spoke some sense into her.
Yeah, and Azula gets off a quick fire shot right to the heart.
Oh yeah, and kills Iroh, and then so he's down and out, and Zuko freaks out. And then they all just attack Azula.
Yeah, at the same time. And
it's
just all
really
the elements,
cool.
And then the boomerang.
I paused it just to show Caleb.
Yeah.
There's all the elements converging on Azula, and there's a little blue sphere around Azula, so obviously she's not being hurt. But then a boomerang that Sokka threw.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
It just bounces off immediately. But then there's a giant explosion, and Azula's nowhere to be seen.
She's also magic.
Which,
if you didn't know that.
That's ridiculous. That she had the avatar and every element right on her, and there's no way she should have survived that.
You know what would have been bad? If they were all bending like sub-elements. Like if Zuko was bending lightning and Katara was bending like... What's a sub-element for water other than blood?
Spoilers. Swamp?
See, she was bending slump. What's her name? Toph was bending metal, and Aang was bending all four elements. Well, I mean, if you've seen Korra, we're talking about Korra. We're
not talking about Korra. This is an Avatar podcast.
No,
I've said repeatedly.
Korra's an Avatar.
So
that would have been really cool.
Yeah. So
all the elements converging
at the end of this episode,
Azula
is nowhere to be seen, and Iroh's laying on the ground, very hurt, and Zuko runs over to help him, and Katara could have just healed him.
Yes, since Katara has a healing bind, she tries to join in. Since Toph knows Iroh, she tried to help him, and since Aang is just Aang,
a good guy,
she tried to help him. And since Sokka, is
Sokka
involved,
just sits over there and doesn't do anything.
He's like, nah, I'm good. And then he freaks out, and this is really good voice acting by Dante Basco, actually. And I wish we had a clip from that, but he screams at all of them to get away. And he throws fire back at, just not towards them, but or not at them specifically, but just towards them.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, dude, chill, you're crazy. And then they leave. And it kind of just pans out. And it's real sad because you're like, man, Iroh's gone.
He's hurting. He might not make it.
Zuko's no longer alone, but now he's more alone than he's ever been. And then the gang is all back together then. But, where's Azula?
And they fly off in the sunset.
And where's Appa?
They're on Appa. They're flying off in the sunset.
When did Appa come back?
They went to Appa.
That's stupid.
They just went back.
That's stupid.
It's not that far. It's not that hard to believe.
Yeah, they're all tired, and then they whooped Azula, and then...
Well, they get some sleep, some blessed sleep.
Finally.
And then everything's all right in the world.
It's dumb.
But that is the very end of the episode.
What did you think about this episode, Caleb? The chase.
I really like this. As I said, it really stuck out to me from watching it when I was younger. I don't know exactly why.
When you were younger? Like would you say May 26, 2006?
No, because I didn't watch it when it aired.
You didn't watch these when they aired?
No.
Really?
I didn't have. As we discussed, I did not have any cable provider of any kind.
Oh yeah.
So I had to wait till I went to my grandma's house on Thanksgiving.
The one thing I had better than you as a kid, we had a dish. Take that.
And so I had to get it in marathons, and I loved it. I never really saw it in its entirety as a kid.
I never watched the third season in its entirety until I rewatched it online illegally.
Whoa. We're gonna have to cut that out.
Don't tell anybody I did that. No, I bought the case, the box case, and watched it, and it's super good still. Mm-hmm. I've seen them 3 times. Unless I didn't buy the box case, and I watched them online 3 times.
Maybe. Okay.
Who knows?
So, this is the first time in the series that all 4 elements are shown attacking the same target. The other times occur later. So I won't say any more of that.
Wow.
And actually, additionally, the 4 elements are bent in the order to the Avatar cycle, as Aang learned them from left to the right.
Was it?
So it's Aang, Katara, Toph, and Zuko. So we had that exactly backwards.
Okay.
Set in the exact reverse order.
But still, that's really cool.
Yeah, they just it's a symmetry, continuity. When Katara first talks to Toph about helping out, Toph is chewing on a piece of wheat, a well-known component of Jet's character. Additionally, Toph and Jet both possess rebellious natures. So Toph is the reincarnation of Jet, is what I'm thinking.
Did Jet die?
We're not sure.
It was very unclear.
It's very unclear, yeah.
Okay, so another fun fact. This is the second episode in which Aang makes himself a mustache out of Appa's fur.
Ah, yes.
The first time was in the King
Mr.
of Omashu.
Pomphanophilus Pretorius.
The first surname we've had in this entire show. The second one is Beifong. Mm-hmm. The only surnames we've had. One of them was made up, though.
Azula's smile when she finds Aang at the abandoned village mirrors Ozai's smile in Zuko alone when he is watching Azula firebending. I guess. I mean, yeah, they're smiling. Isn't that just...
I mean, maybe. This is the first episode that features all 6 prominent characters. So we got Aang, Katara.
And they're all in the same place.
Aang, Katara, Momo, Appa, Sokka's Boomerang.
Do they not count May and Ty Lee?
May.
I think... Are they part of the 6?
That's 6 right there.
Yeah, but you also counted Momo and Sokka's Boomerang, which are not 2 prominent characters.
Those are my prominent characters. Well, I shouldn't say May. I should say Ty Lee. It's more prominent character.
Okay, so we got Iroh, Zuko, Katara, Sokka, Aang, Ty Lee, I already said Zuko, May. That's 7.
Well, it says 6, and I'm gonna go with Aang, Katara, Toph, and Zuko. That's 4 right there. And then you're gonna have Zuko.
And Sokka.
I'm gonna say Zuko and Azula are this.
So you can leave Sokka out.
Oh, did I say Sokka?
No.
Okay, well then forget Azula.
So
I'm gonna put.
I don't know what this piece of trivia is, but there are way more than 6.
This is wrong.
A lot of scenes during the chase closely resemble the chase in a 1969 Western film, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. An example being, after robbing a train, another train pulls up from behind with only one boxcar, and it opens up with the cavalry chasing them like Azula's tank train in this episode.
Dude, I'm telling you, that heavily inspired by Westerns. These last episodes.
2 episodes, and they might be going with that theme for the Earth Kingdom, which would be very cool.
That would be. I like it. How it's run down and very earthy.
When Ty Lee attempts to paralyze Sokka's head, she hurts her hand. This symbolizes the fact that he is hard-headed,
yes,
realistic, and practical, and that he is thick-skulled, despite being a valuable member of the gang. And coming up with ways to get them out of sticky situations. He is seen as unintelligent and slow by others. Well, that piece of trivia was not too good to Sokka.
Azula's escape is portrayed in the Boy in the Iceberg play that we do not see yet. We're not going to talk about, but this is the second time a character escapes with this technique. The first being Zhong Zhong in the episode The Deserter.
Yeah, you mean like magic?
Yeah, they're magic.
Because it's ridiculous.
They're firebending magic.
Dead. She's dead.
They're magicians.
I mean, maybe firebending is more magical than the other elements.
Because they do just kind of pull it out of nowhere.
I don't know. Yeah. Unless you're going to go by the Shyamalan canon, in which they need sources. But
this is not Shyamalan.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Shyamalan can...
And with that, we're going to go ahead and end the podcast. Guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, if you want to email us, it's boysintheiceberg@gmail.com. And check us out on Twitter @boysintheberg. As always, I've been Caleb Bader.
And I'm Harley Davis.
And we'll see you here next week.
Bye.